Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Pilot of a Dad. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of Warhammer 40k Imperium magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course drop me a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys and it goes a massive way to helping out the channel too. Now, this week's good old Imperium magazine comes with an apology letter. I'm not going to read it because everybody has it, but basically they mucked up. They printed an error in issue 83 stating that you got a cutout for a shrine area to use in your battle for that week's battle. Yeah, it didn't exist because they intended you to use the actual terrain pieces that we've had before. Yeah, genuine mistake. It's one of them things. It's going to happen every now and again, but yeah, they apologise for it, which is pretty good of them, really. Anyway, we're on issue 87. We have part 2 of our Redemptor Dreadnought. So, plenty more pieces. We get a build guide this week, a paint guide next week. Put this with your other sprue because obviously we have one more sprue to go next week, and then we can get building of our Redemptor Dreadnought and having a bit of fun with him at the same time. So it's going to be really, really good. You are going to have spare parts. You can utilise these for whatever you want. You can chuck them in a bin. You can build objective markers with them, good old anything like that. Entirely up to you. Have a bit of fun with it. You can put them on bases as like scatter terrain if you want to. It's your choice. They're your parts. Have a bit of fun. Anyway, into this week's issue we go. First off, we're greeted by the Sabbat Worlds. So, one of the other war zones within the 41st millennium. The Sabbat Worlds campaign was one of expulsion and reconquest, fought against chaos-tainted cultists under the leadership of a group of heretical magisters. So, the Sabbat Worlds, named after Saint Sabbat, whose legend portrays him as having driven heretics from the Sabbat Worlds, and then it became named after him, over 6 millennia previously. However, sporadic fighting between Chaos and the Imperium continued in the region for thousands of years since, and in the second half of the 41st millennium a crusade was undertaken to reconquer the whole region by the War Master Slado. So, we get a bit more information about everything that happens in the Sabbat Worlds as well. So there are novels about the Sabbat Worlds, and there are also novels about Commissar Gaunt as well. So Gaunt and Gaunt's Ghosts being part of the Astra Militarum. So Colonel Commissar Gaunt, one of the many storied heroes created during the Sabbat Worlds campaign, Ibram Gaunt, is beloved by the soldiers who have fought at his side, yet mistrusted and even hated by some Imperial circles of the vast war zone. One of the many commissars amongst War Master Slado's forces in the Sabbat Worlds, Gaunt distinguished himself in battle many times. So, commissars have a really, really unique look, very formal, very officer-like, and you can get minis of them, and they do look really, really good. Some of them, the older ones, look a bit too squat and a bit weird, but otherwise, you know, Gaunt is a nice, unique character as well. Now, with Gaunt, you get Gaunt's Ghosts. Gaunt Ghosts, you can pick up these guys from GW, and they all have their own unique look. So, a bit Rambo-esque, obviously all designed to be jungle fighters, and kind of, as you can imagine, being called Gaunt's Ghosts. Their expertise is in good old scouring, stealth, infiltration, and such like. So, really, really cool stuff. And, yeah, they're pretty cool. I genuinely like them. It's nice having more information about them because I didn't know a lot, in all honesty. But if you ever wanted to pick them up, you can do, which is always a really, really good thing when you get these named heroes. So, pretty cool. And then we get information about the Chaos Command and the Blood Pact as well, that are said to have originated on the feudal world at the outer edge of the Sabbat Worlds. They have long sworn allegiance to Khorne, because, you know, Khorne. Why not? You know, if it's a blood pact, you can guarantee Khorne's going to be involved somehow, isn't he, really? But yeah, pretty cool, and a bit more information, which is always really, really nice, having a bit more lore behind everything. Now, talking of lore, we get more information about the chapters. So this is all about the Fulminators, sons of the Ultima Founding. So these were created during the Ultima founding. The Fulminators are a chapter comprised entirely of Primaris Space Marines. Born in an age of ceaseless conflict, the Fulminators fight at the forefront of the Indomitus Crusade, seeking to prove themselves the equal of their elders. So, relatively young chapter of Space Marines, filled with Primaris Space Marines, which obviously isn't everybody's cup of tea, but you know, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the Primaris Marines. But anyway, they are of the Ultima founding as well. So the Ultima, when it founded more and more bits and pieces, they kind of created more and more sub chapters. So this is one of the smaller sub chapters, and they're pretty cool, pretty different, and I think I'd probably paint them up if I wanted to. Anyway, we get more information about one of the other groups, the Howling Griffins. Founded from the gene seed of the Ultramarines chapter, the Howling Griffins have established a formidable battle record in the 7,000 years since their founding. They are known to swear oaths, pledging to achieve great deeds in service of the Emperor. So these are kind of more like your, in a roundabout way, knights errant. So they have a nice kind of griffin in their kind of iconography. They have that kind of quartered paint scheme, both red and yellow, which I'm not gonna lie, hard colours to paint in all honesty, especially yellow, but really, really good. And but they look unique, they look different. That's what I like about them, I'm not gonna lie to you. They stand out. They just stand out from all the other Space Marines because of that paint scheme. It looks really, really good, and I do genuinely like seeing stuff like that as well. So pretty cool. Moving forward, you get more information about one of the other factions, the Tyranids. Obviously, Tyranids are going to play a massive, massive, massive part in 40k 10th edition, which is coming soon. So if you haven't checked out Warhammer Fest's kind of reveals, Tyranids are getting a nice bump, and we're going to get a lot more Tyranids. If there is a new magazine, which I kind of want there to be one, and I kind of don't want it at the same time because my band balance will not like me for it, but I would imagine if we do get one, it's going to be obviously 10th edition based, so it's going to be Tyranids and Space Marines. So we'll have new Space Marines, we'll have new Tyranids, we'll have old Tyranids and such like. And I'm not going to lie, you can get some really, really cool paint schemes for Tyranids, and yeah, you can do some good fun with them. So have a bit of a read through this. Obviously, you know, Tyranids devour, they destroy, they consume bio-organic material at will, and they have these nutty looking stuff. So they do generally kind of rip through planets, destroy every little bit of biomatter in the area with their ripper swarms, pyrovores and such like. So yeah, they're pretty cool, they're pretty weird at the same time, so depending on what they've devoured can depend on how they mutate and how they develop new parts of the hive. So yeah, they're a bit unique, a bit different as well, good old Tyranids. Then we get a story, we get the Ascension. So, the path to demonhood is paved in blood and suffering. Only a privileged few possess the strength of mind and body to ascend. Most fall in forgotten battles or suffer a horrific fate far worse than mere death. So, a pretty lengthy story, going through a very, very chaos-driven story. It's always nice to see some fiction. I must admit, I'm not the biggest fan of 40k fiction because I'm not a big sci-fi fan, but it's pretty cool, it's not bad, it's really quite interesting to read through, so it's definitely worth having a nosy at. Then we have our build guide. Now, the build guide does want you to have sub-assemblies. Now, a lot of this is push fit, you may or may not want to glue a lot of it, so yeah, entirely up to you. You can have alternate builds as well with this, so you do have your main build, an alternate build, and I think there's a couple of others as well. If there is, I'm going to post pictures on screen now, or try to if I remember. But otherwise, it is a case of you can pop a lot of it together. You don't have to glue certain parts of it because you might want them to move later on, which, you know, is always a really good option to have as well. Having slightly moving parts makes your model a little bit cooler as well. So if you want to, and you want to change things up as you go, you can, of course, obviously, if you wanted to magnetize stuff. I'm not going to lie, that seems like a bit of a faff at times, but it can look really cool. So if you want to be able to change weapons, magnetizing your weapons at the connection points of the arms, you can do that, and yeah, make them look fun. So why not? But otherwise, there's a lot to it. But now, obviously, we need to wait until good old next week to get the other parts to our dreadnought, and yeah, it's going to keep us going for a little while. So I'm not going to lie, it's a slightly more complicated build with different weapons to utilize. Yeah, it's going to be good fun though. I'm not going to lie, I genuinely love seeing weapons like this. And yeah, don't forget to put your purity seals on there, because obviously defending the Emperor, you're going to want some purity seals, because that's always fun. Moving on though, we have our campaign. So obviously continuing our campaign, we have a new battle. So 75 power, we will get our more information and paint next week and everything like that, and I think data sheet comes next week if I remember rightly. But yeah, really good stuff, and I can't wait to get going with our Redemptor Dreadnought. Talking about Redemptor Dreadnought, obviously part 3 next week, which will be really good fun. We get to find information about Space Wolf heroes, which we already know about some of them already, and we will get information about Holy Terror. Issue 89, the penultimate issue, is our Inquisitor Draxus. Genuinely a lovely mini. I really can't wait to get my hands on Draxus, because it's a cool mini, and yeah, should be good fun. And then obviously issue 90 is Illuminor Xerus from the Necrons, our final issue. So we're almost there, we've almost done, and it'll be sad to see it go. I'm not gonna lie, you know, nearly 90 weeks of 40k fun. You know, it's been good. I've enjoyed the collection. I haven't read everything. I have kind of flicked through some of it and need to go back through a lot of it and try and reread it and try and develop my understanding of 40k. But if you are new to 40k, obviously things like Imperium magazine are of great help. If you're new to Age of Sigmar, pick up Stormbringer magazine. If you subscribe directly to them now, you can get from issue 1. Otherwise you've got to try and get back issues. There's a lot of cool minis, a lot of really kind of good lore, some ropey lore, but otherwise it's a really fun thing to be involved in. And obviously Warhammer 40k 10th edition is coming up soon, so if you're going to be getting 10th edition and you're a Space Marine player, you can of course obviously use all your Space Marines. If you're a Necron player, you'll be able to use all your Necrons. There probably will be new Necron units coming up for 10th edition as well, and yeah, a lot of good stuff. So no matter what army you've chosen, you should get some new bits and pieces later on. So it'll be really good fun and quite enjoyable at the same time. Anyway, that is enough from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you sometime soon. Bye bye now.